What you see next to me is arguably the most important car for Holden this year. The new Colorado has undergone some huge changes, with a chunk of the engineering and design work done right here in Australia. But does it match the ever-growing standards in this segment?
The huge Aussie design and engineering involvement has progressed from the exterior design right through to the way it drives. The Colorado is built in Thailand but sold in a number of global markets, with Australia being one of the most popular. With a starting price of under $30,000, the new Colorado tops out at $54,490 for this top spec Z71.
The all-new design is very muscular, and I guess it's the car equivalent of a bodybuilder in a tight shirt, if you can sort of picture that. The Z71 comes with a raft of stickers here on the bonnet. It also has a black nudge bar, black mirrors, black door handles, black wheels, and even Z71 stitching on those front seats. As you would expect, the Colorado can take a heap of gear in its tray, with the entry level sitting at just under 1,500 kilos of payload. The top spec Z71, on the other hand, will do just over a tonne, which is pretty impressive, as is the 3,500 kilo brake towing capacity. But we could take or leave this cheap and hard to use tray cover. Before we get out of the freezing cold, how cool is this? The LTZ and the Z71 both come with a remote start feature, which means you can be inside your house, press that, hold this, the car will switch on, and it'll be nice and toasty warm for your drive into work. You may be surprised with the amount of legroom back here, especially with the seat this far back. I've got grasshopper legs, but there's plenty of knee and toe room as well, which is important for carrying rear passengers. Now, while you don't have any cup holders, you do have a centre armrest. You also get bottle holders in the doors. There's no rear air vents, but it does come with a pretty powerful air conditioner and a heater. But I reckon my favourite feature is this cubby hole under here, although it's only really big enough for a packet of tissues. Before we get to the infotainment, check out this interior. Holden has really stepped up the game with some great quality materials and excellent fit and finish. Gone is that horrendous looking infotainment screen that used to live here. It's been replaced by this excellent MyLink touchscreen. Now, not only does it feature an updated nav system along with extra functions, it also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integration, which is a huge step forward. There's also a great trip computer here, which uses an LCD screen to display everything from remaining oil life right through to your tyre pressures.
In addition to creature comforts like heated seats, Holden has gone hard on safety with a reversing camera across the range and a raft of advanced safety features such as forward collision alert and lane departure warning. Holden engineers spent thousands of hours testing and tuning the engine, steering calibration and ride and handling for the Aussie market. Under the bonnet is a 4-cylinder, 2.8 litre turbocharged diesel engine that makes 147 kilowatts of power and a class-leading 500 newton metres of torque.
All of that torque would be entirely pointless without a decent gearbox. What we're driving here is the 6-speed automatic, which is optional across the entire range, and it's a really ripper unit. It's always in the right gear, and when you do need a call on it for a bit of torque, it kicks down and really just shoves you in the back. In two-wheel drive mode, it's sending all of that torque to the rear wheels, and the car feels incredibly planted. That Australian engineering work has paid off. It really sits nicely through corners and feels very confident, even without a load in the back. Steering feel is absolutely on point, and that's thanks to Holden ditching the hydraulically assisted steering rack and replacing it with this electrically assisted one. What does that actually mean? Well, at low speeds, the wheel is really easy to use, and then as your speed increases, it becomes a bit heavier. And it's felt best on these country roads about centre, where you don't have the steering wheel wandering and having no directional input on the car. Now, don't fall asleep. We're going to be talking engineering here and a couple of technical details. The old Colorado, when you got onto the throttle with the auto gearbox, you had a vibration come through the cabin. Now, fine if you wanted a massage, but no good any other time. This new car, on the other hand, what they've done is fitted a device that's really only seen on a lot of high-end premium cars. It's called a centrifugal torque converter. How does it work? Well, it wraps around the torque converter and the driveline, and when you get onto the throttle, those inherent vibrations would normally just come through the cabin. This device isolates them, So instead of pushing them through the cabin, the device is taking all of those vibrations and dissipating them. So you never actually feel them behind the wheel. You hit the throttle and you just get a shunt of torque behind your back, and that's it. What about engine noise? Well, it's not quite whisper quiet, but it's a huge improvement on where it used to be. The engineers have worked on something called NVH, noise, vibration and harshness. And that's basically eliminating all of the noises you get from the engine bay, the wind noise and every other type of intrusion. It's actually a really pleasant place to be sitting here at 80 k's an hour. The last thing you need when you drive one of these Utes is to have no throttle response. Well, you don't get that here. Jam the throttle down, the engine comes to life and gives you a really good shunt in the back. That gearbox is really well calibrated and works well with the throttle to make everything happen. One thing I can't be so positive about though is the brake pedal feel. It's still really spongy. They really haven't done enough work on that. And that feeling is only going to get worse when you have a full load on board or even when you're carrying a trailer. But it does come with a cool feature called grade active braking. And what it does is it uses a meter within the car that senses when you're going down a steep descent and you've got your foot on the brake. What it'll basically then do is start going back through the gears to provide you engine braking as well, making sure you preserve those brakes and don't overheat them.
Arguably though, the best feature is trailer sway control. This safety tech prevents the Ute from succumbing to the death wobbles, which can sometimes happen if you perform an emergency lane change when you have a trailer attached. When it comes to off-road gear, the Colorado is slightly different to its competitors. Instead of using a lockable rear differential, the Colorado uses a helical LSD that apportions torque between the rear wheels, in addition to an electronic traction control system.
We put this to the test earlier in the year at Holden's Proving Ground, but we thought we'd try it once more on this very steep and slippery incline, seeing how well it works. So immediately I'm listening to that traction control system working away. It's actually really impressive. So normally you would have to have a rear differential lock there to make it up something like that. That is some pretty cool stuff.
Holden's huge investment in Colorado has seen engineers drive the car for thousands of kilometres across a variety of conditions. Has it paid off?
Well, it's most of the way there. The guys didn't start from a clean sheet with this car, so what they've been able to do in comparison to the outgoing Colorado really is impressive. It offers a cracking engine, loads of towing capacity, and it's pretty capable off-road as well. And you can't forget all of the technology they've been able to cram into this. But the ultimate test will come when we stack it up against its competitors.